We're just going to start seated with breath. So find a comfortable way to sit, nice and tall. Settle into it. And let's work on clearing our mind to begin. So we want to focus on our breath to help do that. Big inhales and big exhales. Find that ujjayi breath, breathing in there at the base of the throat. So you have an ocean sound to the breath. Five more of these breaths. Maybe setting an intention here for this class. After that fifth breath, you can blink your eyes open. And we'll bring our hands behind us so we're leaning back. Feet will be hip width apart and out a little towards the front of your mat. And we're just going to windshield wiper the knees back and forth. Trying to keep your chest and shoulders square to the front of your mat. So there's a twisting action here in the spine. Try to release tension in the low body, particularly the hips. We'll even out both sides. And when you're done, just meet with your legs extended out in front of you. Your legs can be hip width apart. We're going to take a twist here with our legs straight. So I want you to keep your spine really long as you twist to the right side of your mat. Maybe you're able to kind of square up the shoulders to that right side. Maybe you don't come that far in your twist. That's okay. And then if you'd like, you can place your hands out in front of you there and come down towards the floor with your chest. Try to keep that left leg and left hip planted down. Take a deep breath here. And then we'll come out of that, back center, and then we'll twist to the left. So you want to, again, keep the spine really long, really straight, but belly drawn in helps with that. And then maybe bending towards the ground with it. Still keeping the spine nice and long. And then we'll come out and into butterfly. So feet together. And you open those feet up like a book to help release the hips, open the hips a bit. And then I like to flap my butterfly wings a bit when I come into it, especially if we're doing this at the beginning of class. It helps to release tension and gripping that is happening subconsciously. Let's take another deep breath here. And then you can still the legs. And we'll take a big inhale to lengthen the spine and an exhale to hinge forward, keeping the spine nice and long as you come over the feet. You come down as low as you'd like. Maybe use your elbows into your legs to help get the knees a little closer to the ground. Just adding more of a stretch in our hips here as we hinge forward. Take another deep breath. And then inhale back up. And we'll meet in child's pose. So sitting back on your heels, big toes touching, bring your knees wide so that you can come down towards the mat, forehead on the mat. Reach the arms out nice and long. If you'd like to rock a little side to side, put some movement into it, stretch a little deeper into each shoulder, into the upper back. Feel free to do that. We'll take 3 deep breaths here. And then press into your palms, tuck your toes, and we'll come into downward dog. Just briefly. You can pedal out your heels a little bit if you like. When you're in downward dog, you want to make sure your feet are hip width apart and your hips are up high. So if you have to bend your knees in order to lift the hips up more, get the chest a little closer to your thighs, that's fine. We'll slowly walk the feet up to meet the hands. Feet will stay hip width apart when you're at the top of your mat and will hang in ragdoll. So you can grab opposite elbows above your head. Or another option here, you could interlace your fingers and place them there at the base of your skull for just a little bit of weight. You're not tugging on your head at all, but just that little bit of extra weight, you really feel more of a stretch and opening in the back of the spine. Take another deep breath. And then you can release your grip. We're going to place our left fingertips between our feet, bend into that left knee, reach the right arm up. Keep the belly drawn in and keep your hips squared behind you. Don't let your hips go off to the left side of your mat. Roll your right shoulder back. Roll the right ribs back. And then exhale the right fingertips down, bend into the right knee, and inhale that left arm up into your twist on the other side. Keeping the belly drawn in, supporting the spine as it's twisting. And then exhale, release, and hang in ragdoll again. So either grabbing opposite elbows or interlace the hands behind the head. One more breath. And then release your grip. Soft bend in the knees. Inhale, circle sweep up the arms, reach up, stretch. Exhale your arms down to your side. We'll bring our feet together. We're going to do some classic sun salutations, which if you've ever done moon salutations with me, it's very similar to that, just less steps. So we'll do this first one really slow. Inhale, reach up, look up, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, step your left foot back and drop that knee, coming into a low lunge and inhaling the arms up. If you need to modify, just keep those hands supported on your front knee. And then on your exhale, plant your hands, tuck the left toes, step back into downward dog. And then you'll inhale the left foot forward now, dropping the back knee up into low lunge on this side. And then exhale, plant your hands, tuck the back toes to step forward and fold at the top of your mat. And then inhale, circle, sweep up the arms, back up to standing. Exhale, fold. We'll do a few more of these. Inhale, left foot steps back into your lunge. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, left foot forward. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, reach up, maybe even reach back a little. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left foot back into your low lunge. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, left foot forward, low lunge. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, reach up. Let's do it again. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, step back, low lunge. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, step forward, low lunge. Exhale, step forward to the top of your mat and fold. Inhale, back up to standing, reaching up. Exhale your arms to your side. We'll separate our feet hip width apart, hands to our hips. Inhale, lengthen the spine, draw the belly in, and then exhale, hinge at the waist, reaching the chest forward as you come down. Then grab the big toes with the two peace fingers. Take an inhale with that grip, lengthen the spine more. Exhale, fold, keeping the belly drawn in, keeping the head heavy, and you can have a bend in the knees if you need it. Slide the shoulders away from the ears. One more breath. Inhale, halfway. Place those left fingertips between the feet again. Bend into that left knee. Inhale the right arm up into that twist. Inhale. Exhale, right fingertips down. Bend into the right knee. Inhale the left arm up. Inhale. Exhale, left fingertips down. Inhale, circle, sweep up the arms. Back up to standing. Exhale, hands to your side. So feet should still be hip width apart here. And you're just going to we're coming into a high lunge. So send that left leg straight back so that feet are still hip width apart, even though you're stepping back into this lunge. So settle down deep into that lunge. Back leg is really strong. Heel lifted over the toes. And we'll inhale our arms up. We're going to hold here. If you want a little more challenge, you can try lifting that right heel off the mat. So we're only on our toes. If you took that option, place the right heel back down on the mat. We're going to take a grip with our hands behind for shoulder rinse. Pull down on the arms. So lift the chest, lift the gaze, lift your chin. Big opening in the throat, in the chest, the belly. Hold here, one more breath. And then we'll come out of that, hands to that front knee and drop the left knee to the mat. So we're in a low lunge. Hands will come to heart center. Take an inhale, lengthen, draw your belly in, and exhale, twist to the right. Hook your left elbow on the outside of that right knee. Again, you don't want to let the hips come out to the side when you're twisting. You want to keep those hips squared behind you. Press the palms together. You can even press fingertips together if you need a little more space for your twist. We'll take one more breath here. And then come back center. Place both hands at the top of your mat. Tuck your back toes and step forward and fold. We'll hang here again in ragdoll, feet separated, hip width apart. And again, that option if you'd like to have interlaced hands behind your head. Then release your grip. Inhale, back up to standing, reaching the arms up. And exhale, hands down. Now we're going to send the right leg straight back behind us on the mat. So feet are hip width apart still on our mat. Settle into it. Find a nice solid foundation. And when you're ready, reach your arms up and stretch. Strengthen that back leg so you really feel a good stretch in the right hip flexors. Maybe lifting the left heel if you took that option on the other side. And holding and breathing. Bring the left heel back down if you took that option. We'll take our clasp behind us. Pull down on the arms. Stretch through the chest. Bring your gaze up, chin up. Stay low in your lunge though. And then we'll release, hands to that knee and drop the right knee to the mat. Hands will come to heart center. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, take your twist. Try to get your elbows stacked, maybe even your shoulders stacked. Focus on rolling the left shoulder back, We're twisting with the mid-spine, so you need to open the chest towards the left side of your mat. Roll the left ribs back. One more breath. And we'll inhale back to center. Place your hands on the mat in front of you. Step forward. Feet hip width apart. Let's hang in ragdoll again. Release your grip and inhale back up to standing. Exhale, arms to your side. We'll do a quick balancing posture with a twist here. So plant your left foot into the mat and you're going to bring your right knee up and just see how your balance feels here first. So you might want to just keep the knee bent to take your twist, reaching that right arm back behind you and looking over that shoulder. Or if you can, reach for the outside of that right foot and give it a kick. The goal is to keep the spine really long, really straight. So don't start rounding forward. If that kick makes you round forward, take the modification with the knee bent. Keep the chest lifted. Open the chest to the right side of the mat. Look over the right hand if you can. And we'll release. Planting the right foot now. Bring your left knee up. And a nice solid connection under that right foot. Right leg is really engaged, really strong. Belly's drawn in. All that helps with balance. Press into that big toe. And then whatever you did on the other side, if you modified and just grabbed the outside of your knee so that you could keep your spine long and twist, or maybe you were able to grab the outer edge of your foot and kick. Keep both legs straight. If you're extending that left leg, make sure they're both straight before you come into your twist. Keep the chest lifted. Go ahead and release. Take a breath in, mountain pose. We're going to come into pyramid. So you're going to step your left foot back and only about 3 or 4 feet between your feet here. And you can have that left foot out just a little wide if you need it, because we want to square up the hips. So you want your left hip pulled forward, right hip bumped back. And we'll take a clasp behind us for a shoulder rinse with this one. So inhale, long spine, draw your belly in, and then exhale, reach your chest forward as you hinge at the waist to come down. You want to keep your spine long, so we're not rounding over this leg. Spine is nice and long. When you can't fold anymore, just relax your head, try to lift your arms away from your body. One more breath. Then we'll inhale up. You release your grip and we'll just switch feet. So left foot forward now, step that right foot back just about halfway. So 3 or 4 feet between your feet. Square up the hips and then take your clasp behind you. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, really long spine, leading with the chest and chin to come forward. And then when you can't fold anymore, relax your head down, lift your arms up. One more breath. And inhale, slowly come back up, step to the front of your mat. We'll inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. And then we'll step back and lower all the way down to our belly. We're going to move a little here with Cobra. So you want to have your hands out in front of you actually, and let's separate our legs hip width apart, or even mat width apart if that feels better. We're going to come up high in this in seal, so it'll feel better in your low back if your legs are separated. So You're going to begin by inhaling and lifting without using your arms. So baby cobra. Then you're going to continue going, pushing into the elbows. At this point, we still have our chin tucked towards our chest, though. So we have a nice long neck in the back. And then you'll push into your hands to come all the way up and look up. And then you're going to come out of that the same way, just the opposite. You're going to go ahead, start lowering, tucking the chin towards the chest, and then coming all the way down. And then start again. Inhale, baby cobra. Press into those elbows, press into the hands, and look up. And then come back out, nice and slow. And we'll do 3 more. After that third one, you can take a rest if you want to stack your forearms, rest your forehead, take a breath here. And then we'll come into floor bow. So you'll bend your knees and reach back for the outside of your feet, just below your toes. Work your knees back towards one another and push into your hip bones. Exhale, and then inhale, kick into your grip. As you do that, you pull back on the arms, stretch the shoulders and the chest. We look up, we roll forward onto the soft part of our belly. Good. And then go ahead and release. Push yourself up, or you can actually roll over. I have to push myself up because I don't want to have my head towards you, facing away from you. So you just roll over. But we're going to set up here for fish, and you're going to keep your elbows planted. I personally, for this, like to sit on my hands so that I don't have to put a lot of effort into keeping my elbows and my arms where they're at. But legs are in front of you, straight, and you're going to drop your head back and try to lightly place the top of your head on your mat. And really puff your chest out, creating a back bend here, pushing into the elbows, but head is hanging back behind you and lightly resting on the mat. So we're creating a back bend here, which means we're getting the heart pumping. We're sending all of that fresh oxygen down to our brain then, because we're also in a bit of an inversion. One more breath. And we'll go ahead and release. You can work those arms out from under you and lay down on your mat. We're going to do a little bit of core work here. So you'll bring your knees up, feet up, flex the feet, and you can have your legs separated hip width apart. Our knees are at 90 degrees, and I want you to engage your low belly and press the low back down towards the mat. And I want you to be really mindful of that as we move here, that you keep the lower back pressed down towards the mat and you don't start overarching in the low back as we move, okay? So glue that low back down, and then arms just to either side of you on the ground, and we'll tap. You're going to bring your right knee or right heel down and tap, and then bring it back up. And we're keeping our knees bent at 90 degrees. Left heel comes down and taps. Come back up. And I want you to move slowly here, because you're going to work deeper into your core muscles and use your hip flexors a little more than if you move too quickly with this. So nice and slow, and keep the feet flexed. So our legs are pretty engaged here as we're moving. Check in with the low back. Make sure your low belly is still engaged and you're pressing the low back down. We're not overarching. Keeping the ribs pressed down, corseted together too. And we'll do one more on each side. Good. Go ahead and hug your knees in. Relax your feet. Let's take some sacrum circles. So draw big circles. Stir those knees around, drawing big circles in one direction. Around one more time. And then we'll switch and go the other way. 3 times around in the other direction. Okay. Then go ahead and bring your feet down to the mat. They're still hip width apart here. We're setting up for some bridge work. So you should be able, you want to bring your heels in close to your glutes. You should be able to reach down, feel your heels or even your ankles there. Toes are pointed straight ahead. You're going to push into your feet and lift your hips. Lift your belly, lift your chest. See if you can't roll your shoulders underneath you. Maybe taking a clasp under with your hands. Really pressing into the upper arms and the shoulders then, not the neck, to lift up. You can stay here if you want, or we will lift that right leg straight out and bring it down. And lift that left leg straight out and bring it down. It might even be helpful if you'd like to keep your hands on your hips if you're moving here to make sure that you're not rocking the hips back and forth. You're trying to keep the hips really stable, low belly still really tight as you move slowly with control. Let's do one more on each side. Good. Go ahead and lower the hips and hug your knees in. You can rock a little side to side if you'd like, or maybe some more sacrum circles. And then let's just keep the knees together. Bring your arms out to a T and drop those knees over to the right side of your mat, coming into a twist. So you can keep your legs, keep those knees stacked. Just an easy twist here. And take it all the way up the spine by looking over your left shoulder. One more breath. And we'll bring our knees back in and drop them over to the left side of our mat. Look over your right shoulder. One more breath. And then we'll bring our knees back in, lower our legs to the mat, come into Shavasana here. We're going to do 3 breaths before we end and can fully relax into Shavasana. I want you to empty your lungs and then inhale just into the rib cage, keeping the belly tight. And then at the very top of that inhale, when you think you can't fill your lungs anymore, press your belly out, relaxing the diaphragm, making more room for those lungs to expand, finding a last sip, and then exhale, pressing the belly in, braiding the ribs back together, squeezing out every bit of that air. Again, 2 more times into the rib cage first. Rib cage expands in all 4 directions. When you can't breathe in anymore, press the belly out, find that last sip, and then exhale it out slowly. Last one. Really let go on that exhale. Release tension in the shoulders, in the face, in the jaw, all the way down to your fingertips and toes. Stay here and enjoy this Shavasana as long as you can. Namaste.